Black people have superpowers. Let me tell you why.
Blacks dominate because they were bred for strength.
Because this goes back all the way to the Civil War, when during the slave trading, the slave owner would breed his big black to his big woman, so that he could have a big black kid. See, the black is a better athlete to begin with because he's been bred to be that way, because of his high thighs and big thighs that goes up into his back, and they can jump higher and run faster because of their bigger thighs, you see.
Wagwan family, welcome back to my YouTube commentary. I am the Kenyan Beast. Of course, we are doing it the African way. Black people have superpowers, and white people have finally realized that this is a truth that was buried for centuries and is now exploding in the open. White America are finally admitting that black people carry a kind of power the system cannot measure, the system cannot predict, and even some of them, the system confidence now is losing. White system confidence, it is declining faster because black people too have started realizing that their superpower is like this and this. Now, that's what I'm going to talk about today, because for centuries, they build lies to protect their ego. They hide our greatness to protect their power. They use propaganda to convince themselves that something was never true. But right now, white America are shocked, confused, and in many cases, terrified, because the black power they tried to crush for generations is rising so fast, so naturally, and so loud, and they can no longer deny it. Let's dive deep into that. But before I dive deep into that, I want you to watch these clips, and then we see what we can talk about it.
I don't mean to say this like to be disrespectful, and maybe some people are going to think this sounds dumb, but I feel like there's a deeper reason why, people of color and specifically the black community have been relentlessly persecuted. Just the things that happened during slavery alone, were insane. But I don't know, the more I learn about black history and the ways that, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on. You're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, I have this theory that, what if black people have some type of superpower? What if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, like I said, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to get rid of them, blah blah blah. I don't know, I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about that is linked to them being people of color, and I've seen some black creators come on here and try to explain how special it is to have melanin in your skin and how it has all these different properties, but I don't know, I just feel like I have this theory that this goes so much deeper than maybe a lot of us realize, because I'm sorry, but I don't think you're gonna go out of your way for all these hundreds and hundreds of years to try to ruin one group of people over something as silly as, oh, their skin is a different color. I feel like there's something that we don't know. I'm telling you, there's something special about them that they don't want us to know. Okay, this is just something that I've been thinking about recently, and I'm like, maybe if there are some black creators that maybe they already made a video and I just didn't see it. I don't know, but I don't know, maybe this sounds dumb. Or maybe this is yeah, no shit, Sherlock, but it's just something I was thinking about.
So it's a vibrational thing. It's melanin. Melanin is literally worth more than gold. Having melanin, this layer, this epidermis, this layer of skin protects you from the sun. We are people of planet Earth. We are the aboriginal inhabitants of planet Earth. Literally. There was a man by the name of Albert Perry, and he's from South Carolina in America, and he has the oldest DNA in the world. His DNA is said to be over 300,000 years old, and he's from America. So older than the Lucy bones, older than the other woman's bones. I can't think of her name. That was found in South America. And then, of course, Henrietta Lacks. She has immortal cells that literally was on display as art in a museum. Another Black American woman. I'm putting emphasis on Black American because y'all already know all of the theories of where we come from, when literally melanin rich people were all over the globe at one point. And our pineal glands are open. It's not calcified like other people. We have different digestive systems. That's why the food pyramid doesn't necessarily work with us. Like, we have to eat different. And I would advise everyone to find out what your blood type is and eat according to your blood type, okay? Give your cells what they need, but also the melanin. And this is why they try to demonize watermelon, because watermelon is actually amazing and immaculate for people with melanin. Like, hello. But we are vibrational beings. Everything around you is moving. We are rhythmically inclined. This is why we created every single genre of music, Black Americans. And this is why we can dance and we have a certain type of rhythm to us, because we are in tune with the vibrational frequency of this physical plane. They clone Tyrone ain't fake. They literally pump things in our neighborhoods. They give us certain types of food to lower our vibrational field. Because when you're vibrating on a certain frequency, it also helps you to tap into the spiritual realm. And you could access different dimensions. We going a little too far, a little too deep? And also, you know, I think that the clear folk is just afraid of us being the superpower that we have always been. No matter what conditions we live in, we always thrive. No matter what foods, no matter what diseases, whatever you pump into the community, we're still producing by the droves. They've created in vitro and all of that for a particular group of people, because they didn't realize that giving all of the chemicals and everything to us, it affected them as well, but on a grand scale. Clock that motherfucking T, bitch. They need some. We ain't gonna go into that. We ain't gonna go all the way into that. Okay? But it's a spiritual thing. It's a light. Someone said that it's like we're like the X-Men. Like the X-Men theory. How X-Men are like mutants and everybody ostracizes them and thinks that they're weird and they're forced to live like, you know, off on an island on their own, but they always show up to help everybody. Everybody's always relying on them to save the day while simultaneously treating them like shit. That is the plight of a Black American person. And we literally keep industries alive. We have like $1.9 trillion in spending power in this country. We get all of the negative stigmas, even though people are inflicting those things on us. Everybody's trying to destiny swap, and I'm specifically talking about Black Americans. Everybody's trying to destiny swap with us because we're special. There's like over 50,000 patents of things that Black Americans invented that you use every single day that you don't even realize you're using. Everyone is breathing in our culture because we are the very essence of the world. It just is what it is. This is long, but yeah, we are special. A lot of us are psychic without even knowing, extremely intuitive. I have prophetic dreams. My grandma has had prophetic dreams. Y'all say we don't have no culture. We have a lot of different things that we do that is not breathed in and out every single day because we don't talk about it outwardly. But yeah, it's a superpower. And if we were to cut all of the vices and probably unplug from the devices, ain't no fucking telling who we would be. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
So I was raised that Black people were God's favorite and they were the superior race. And it was interesting to be raised with that mentality because I think it's different than a lot of how other like white people were raised. And I do believe that if more people were raised this way, the world would be a little bit better of a place and maybe we can get along a little bit nicer together. Obviously there's pros and cons to everything. So I would love to discuss the pros and cons of what it was like to be raised with this mentality, as well as like what you think about it and what you think we should do going forward to raise the next generation of children who are carrying the future for us. So how this mentality came about, I was really quizzical and curious as a child and very outspoken. It's interesting to look back now that we're in this ginger talk right now. I'm kind of reliving a few of the silly little traumas that we face as gingers. And I noticed that I was more outspoken between the ages of 0 and ate. And once I started getting really made fun of as a ginger, I kind of lost my voice and I wasn't as brave or outspoken and I was shy and timid. So it's kind of interesting to have that realization now, so many years later. Anyway, back to the important topic here. The way that this mentality was brought on to me was, as I said, I was very outspoken and, I was quizzical and curious as a child. So before the age of 6, I asked my mom, why do we call them Black people when they're more different shades of brown? And I asked her, why do people treat them differently or call them names? Like, what does this mean? Why is this happening? And how do you explain race and racism to a child that is under the age of 6 in a way that they can understand? Because obviously they're not going to be able to comprehend or grasp the entirety of the depth of what racism really truly is. So how do you explain that to a child? She knew that I loved my brownies and my cookies baked a little bit longer than you're supposed to because the crispy edge of the brownie was always my favorite. And I loved when the chocolate chip cookie was a little bit crispy on the outside and a little gooey on the inside. And that was the perfect way to bake the cookies and bake the brownies. So she used that analogy. And yes, it sounds crazy, but as a 4-year-old child, it made perfect sense. And she used that analogy and she said, you know how you like your cookies and your brownies baked a little bit extra? That's kind of what God did with Black people. He took more time and more love into creating Black people. And that's why they're a little bit darker than you. He just baked them a little bit longer. That's how she described race to me. And she said that anybody who talks badly about them or is mean to them is just jealous. So right away, I was kind of just like completely infatuated and just in awe of Black people because I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it like to be God's favorite? What is it like to, just be loved a little bit more from God? Like, I just thought it was incredible and amazing. And so I always just gravitated towards Black people because I was like, oh my God, like they're so lucky. Do they know how lucky they are? Like, how cool is it that God spent a little bit more time on them? I was fascinated by it. And
Black people have superpowers. Let me tell you why. Think about it, yeah. If life is a game, then being Black is like the highest level, like your game, like the player of the game, like the highest form of the creation of the hilly-pillification. Like, if you think about it, yeah, being Black, yeah, in any industry, whether it's rapping, football, being an athlete, influencing, modeling, whatever it is, they're just winning. They take everyone's gal, they got beautiful skin, they can eat anything, and like it's their genes, it's their DNA. Like, they're just winning. I just, like, it's not fair, but like it's fair because it makes sense. Like, if reincarnation is real, I can't lie to you. I'm gonna be like, yo, this time I wanna be Black. Like, when I incarnate again, like, I wanna feel what it feels like to have. Get me, like, bruv, I can't lie.
The fact that we're creative and we can control culture, that we can sing and we can dance and we can rap and we can play basketball and we can dress and we can design. That's a superpower. And so in this moment, like, as a people, we got to embrace all of our creative, and the fact that we're like good people and kind. Didn't win, but I ran for a state Senate seat and 2023. And one of the criticisms that I got when I was running was that he's a really good orator. He speaks well. And this from a Black person said this to me. And for whatever reason, in that moment, I felt bad about that gift. And I allowed that criticism to make me try to, like, speak differently or not try to be as charismatic in the way that I spoke. And it ended up being to my detriment. So the reason I say that is oftentimes people make us feel bad about our gifts. It's nothing wrong. It's actually a gift that we're good at being creative. That's a superpower. It's a superpower that you brothers can put something like this on and get traction and people are interested in what y'all are doing. That's a superpower. That's our superpower. And they often make us feel like it's not.
So I jumped on here really quick to say this after the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance and some of the comments I'm reading and the outrage and blatant disrespect is, how is it Black culture is an obvious cultural superpower? How do we know this? We see the influence of Black culture all across this world, whether it be walk, talk, fashion, swag, music, all the things. People are propelled to stardom, they make money, they get all kinds of praise. But the moment a Black person presents their own culture that's being appropriated by others, it tends to be a problem.
Welcome back. White America never planned to confess. Europeans never planned to confess about this. Something historic is happening. White Americans, from the youths on TikTok to retired elders, philosophers, teachers, and even white pastors are admitting something that shakes the foundation of their belief system. Black people are built with something different, something powerful. They don't know what to call it. Talent, spirit, resilience, energy, excellence, soul, supernatural forces, ancestral strength, But they all agree on one thing. Black people carry a natural power they cannot explain. And this is not new discovery for us, Black people. This is a new discovery for them. Because they were raised to believe the opposite. They were trained to see Black people as inferior, to see Black people as weak, dependent, incapable, unintelligent, primitive, unworthy. But the system that created those illusions is collapsing. And the truth they hid is now screaming. Now, again, why are white Americans finally admitting this? There are major reasons, and each one of them is shaking their society from inside. Number one, why they are admitting this right now is Black resilience is now a global thing. Nothing to hide. It's now too global. There was a time when the whole world only knew about Africa through white media. There was a time when Black environments or Black achievement was erased from textbook. There was a time when the only Black image shown was about poverty, sickness, crime, struggle, dependency. But it is not happening like that anymore. Black excellence is global and unavoidable. And when Black people rise, the world sees it. When Black people rise, the internet spreads it. The youth copy it. Corporation exploit it. Culture shift instantly. So white America are now confessing that no matter what they do, Black brilliance keeps shining. They see it in sport, in science, in fashion, in music, everywhere, in technology, activism. And from the streets of somewhere in Africa, somewhere in Nigeria, in Ghana, all the way to Kingston, Jamaica, all the way to Atlanta, something is shifting and they are seeing it. The Black global identity is dominating. Okay? White America can't hide what the world is praising. The internet destroyed that propaganda. Yes. For the first time in 400 years, Black people are telling their own story. For the first time, the internet broke colonial narrative. The internet weakened racist education system. The internet exposed hidden history, connected Africans and the diaspora, allowed Black scholars to speak directly, erased white fighters. And white America used to control the information pipeline. They control the history books, documentaries, they control public educations, they control libraries, they control Hollywoods, they control new channels. And now a 19 years old Black kid somewhere from Rwanda with a smartphone can expose 300 years of lies in 3 minutes. Neza? Now, white America is not just shocked. They are defeated. The confidence going down. The confidence of superiority. The confidence of we are power, superpower. It's going down. Because they are only people, they are white people, are speaking the truth. And this is their biggest blow. White people are now publicly saying things that they never dared to say. Like, we were lied to about black people. Black culture built this country. Black people survived things we couldn't handle. Black people are the most creative people on earth. Black people are like this. Oh, spiritual power scares them. Oh, black Melanie. Oh, black youths are not danger. Man, I see those videos and I'm like, good times are coming. Good times are coming while I'm still alive. I thank the mighty creator who created me this time to see a shift that is happening. Okay? The confessions are coming from white teachers, white doctors, white youths, white pastors, white farmers, the journalists, white athletes, white parents, white Gen Zs. Even white conservatives are admitting what they used to fight, that black people are built different. This is what is shaking white America the most. The truth is coming from inside their own household. If you remember when Donald Trump was campaigning, he said, black people build this nation. He said, I may say maybe he wanted votes, but he know the reality. The day he wanted to erase some of the history is because he knows the history of black people. They know the reality, but they are playing games. Okay? Now, I remember Harvard historian Professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. said that black survival is one of the greatest achievements in human history. Think about it. People who survived slavery, people who survived forced migration, people who survived segregation, lynchings, people who survived cultural erasure, state violence, apartheid, people who survived psychological warfare, economic isolation, mass imprisonment, mass incarceration. Man, people who are still surviving up to now, being followed in the streets. When they are in the neighborhood, people are just following them, just worried that you are not from here. And still they rose and became a dominant global culture force. White people know they could not survive what black people survived. Even black people sometimes they are seeing what white people are going through and they are like, oh, I'm worried about these white South Africans living here, poor white South Africans. I wonder if they can survive. That is a black person looking at a white person and feeling sorry for him or her because he knows or she knows they can't survive. Now, and that alone terrifies them because when a people cannot be broken, they cannot be controlled. White America calls it supernatural resilience. Africans call it ancestral protection. The diaspora calls it soul. Soldiers call it historical endurance. And I call it inheritance of greatness. Another thing, white Americans are finally admitting something they hated to say. Black culture is the blueprint of modern culture. Not influenced, not inspired, not borrowed, not shared, but the blueprint. Okay? There is one Dr. Samuel Floyd wrote something and said that black creativity shapes global culture more than any civilization in the modern era. White Americans now confess that they copy everything. They copy music, they copy dance, they copy slang, they copy hairstyle, athletic expression, social trends. Why? Because black creativity still is limited. Black creativity, it is not taught or neither forced. It is not controlled, but it flows naturally. And this is why every major cultural shift in America came from black communities. Jazz, blues, hip hop, soul, funk, R&B, rock and roll, and global genes like Afrobeats and Amapiano, it came from what? From black communities. White people are shocked because they can't explain how one group can influence the world without even trying. Again, black people have the power of intelligence. For centuries, Europe built its ego on the belief that black people were intellectually inferior. But modern data, psychology, history, archaeology have destroyed that myth. White scholars are now admitting it. Africa is the birthplace of mathematics. Africa is the birthplace of medicine. Africa is the birthplace of astronomy. Africa built the world's first university. Africa pioneered architecture. Africa kings and queens ran diplomatic empires. So white America is now confessing. And that's why I've played out those videos. Because they hid African brilliance because it threatened their identity. And they are saying that. And that is the truth. Black intelligence didn't suddenly appear, but it was always there. The world is just finally seeing it again. Okay? And something that it's being feared the most is the power of spirit. And this is one of the things that white people cannot explain. They know black people have deeper emotional strength. They know black people have stronger endurance. They know black people are more powerful connection to faith, more intense communal love. American psychologists ran countless studies and found that black people show the highest resilience under trauma out of all racial groups. White researchers were shocked. Pastors are shocked. Therapists are shocked because they see black people laughing even during pain. They see black people laughing even during economic deterioration. They see black people laughing even at segregation, even at mass incarceration. They see black people laughing and celebrating during their struggle. That is something that it have no explanation for real. But African historians do. They have explanation. They say this is ancestral memory. This is spiritual alignment, generational strength, and divine resilience. Okay? This is the spirit they have tried to break for decades, for many years. Again, our power comes in unity. We have the power of unity. And this is one they feared since slavery. Because white America always feared one thing. They just fear black unity. Because unity means political power. Unity means economic power. Unity means cultural power. This is why colonizers divided Africans. The reason why enslavers separated tribes or segregation separated communities is because when black people move as one, the entire global system shifts. And white America are now watching. Africans linking with African Americans, Caribbeans reconnecting with their roots, black British youths embracing identity, African youths rising against neocolonialism, Pan-African movement returning stronger, and they are panicking. They are panicking because the greatest black power is global unity, and they cannot stop it. They can't. Now, white America did not wake up overnight. Okay? There were specific moments, painful, powerful, undeniable moments that forced them to confront the truth about black people. Now, let me break down. The George Floyd global uprising, the moment stunned white Americans. It stunned white people. When George Floyd was murdered, they expected outrage, but what they did not expect was millions of people marching, 60 plus countries protesting, African nations responding, white youths joining, celebrities speaking. So they expected silence. Instead, they witnessed a global black spiritual eruption. And what people said, I don't understand how one black man triggered the whole world. But it wasn't one man. It was the ancestral cry of 400 years that finally shattered the walls. And that event alone woke white America up to something they never believed. That black pain moves nations. Black unity moves generations. Black struggle shakes empires. They were not prepared for that. Another thing is the rise of African youth movement. What we are doing as a youth of Africa, white America is shocked. Because, for example, when you saw the NSAS in Nigeria, the youth uprising in Kenya, Tanzania's political revolt, Burkina Faso revolution, Senegal protest, it is sending some message. African youths are now rejecting Western interference without fear. White policymakers wrote secret reports saying young Africans no longer respond to Western influence. I know that. That's their nightmare. Because the whole Western system, AIDS, NGOs, diplomacy, trade, are depending on African obedience. And now African youths are saying we are done obeying, but we are rising right now. White America controlled the narrative for centuries, but when you these social medias, YouTube, name them, now have people who tell our stories. Dr. Omar Johnson, Professor James Small. We have Boyce Watkins, Cloud Anderson. We have Leonard Jennifer, Angela Davis, African historians, African content creators, young black creators waking up their generation. We have Kenyan Beast. You know, millions of white youths are watching these videos in secret, and they are learning black history for their parents hid, that their parents hid from them. Now, the reason why they did not teach us in school is because this one is shaking. Okay? Now, let me talk about something else. We have black culture domination. White Americans thought that something like rap will fail, black slang would fade, black youth culture would fade. Instead, it took over the world. Every global trend today starts in black communities. Every global trend spreads through the internet. So white America is confused because they don't understand how a group of people they oppressed ended up controlling the cultural direction of the world. They don't have a theory for this. They don't have a scientific explanation. They don't have a political explanation. They only have what? They only know that black culture is unstoppable. Simple. But white people are admitting, and I've seen those videos, white psychologists, white sociologists have quietly studied black people for years, and they analyze black trauma, they analyze black resilience, black family structure, black creativity. And the results were not what they expected. Okay? Now, some of the powerful findings they got: number one, black people have higher collective resilience. Number two, black people have stronger emotional intelligence. Strong emotional intelligence. Number three, black people excel under pressure. Number four, black people are more powerful or more spiritually expressive. Number six, why white Americans fear black power is because they know black excellence exposed the lies of white supremacy. They know black unity will destroy the system they build. They know black consciousness is rising too fast. They know Africa is rising. Okay? So, white America is realizing that the world they control is slipping away, and black people globally are the ones shifting the balance. So, you know how it thinks. But I'm okay. White people are coming out talking about this. It's not that they are allies, but they are. Some of them are scared, some of them are allied, some of them, they just want to align with black people. So it's not something to celebrate, it is something to sit down. We have a lot of superpowers when you see at the melanin, our black skin and everything. It is, okay? Now, I just want you to tell me what you think on the comment section about that video. Is it a good video? Tell me what you think. Do you think black people have superpowers? Until next episode, peace out.